fallopian tube in some form, and any of the principle can be used for female sterilization. The most popular method of terminal contraception all over the world is this female sterilization. Now, what are the indications of female sterilization? Basically, for family planning purposes, it is the principal indication, particularly in the developing countries. And for medical surgical indication, if the female partner wants, like if she's a case of heart disease, diabetes, chronic renal disease, hypertension, and these diseases may worsen with pregnancy, so she can go for medical tubal ligation. Now, what are the procedure? When should this procedure be performed? It can be performed during puerperal period, and if the patient is healthy, this operation can be done 24 to 48 hours after delivery. The chief advantage is the patient is already admitted. She is having little bit of pain in abdomen, so this pain in abdomen and the pain because of the operation, they all coincide with each other, and the patient doesn't have any problem regarding the hospital stay, regarding the pain which she might be having after the delivery. And she has to take rest after delivery, so that rest as well as rest because of tubal ligation, they all coincide, so both go simultaneously, and the delivery as well as the operation, the treatment part is the same. So the patient is given the same antibiotic for the delivery, same antibiotic for the operation also. So all the medication is same, the rest is same, and the patient recovers very soon. The next time of operation is interval tubal ligation. Now, interval tubal ligation, this is usually done when the patient is in menses. Why we always call the patient during menses? Because we have seen that if the patient is menstruating, that means she's confirmed that she's not pregnant, because there are so much of medical legal issues related to tubal ligation failure and all. So it is very much necessary that whenever you are performing this surgery, the patient should not be pregnant. And whenever we ask the patient about any history of intercourse before this procedure, she will deny, or sometimes she might hide also or conceive. So in that case, if the patient is menstruating, at least you are confident that this patient is not pregnant right now, and you can perform the surgery. Next, this type of procedure can be performed after MTP also. But remember, if you are performing after MTP or after cesarean section, in case particularly after MTP, the patient should be a clean-cut case. That means she should not be a case of incomplete abortion with severe anemia, and or she has taken abortifacient pills 15 days back, and she is continuously bleeding since 15-20 days. So there are chances of puerperal sepsis in that patient also. So you will not go for tubal ligation in such cases. If you are inducing the patient then and there, then you are curating the endometrial cavity, then you can go for simultaneously tubal ligation in that patient. Similarly, if you are going for cesarean section in that patient, then after the cesarean delivery, you can immediately go for tubal ligation before closing the abdomen. Okay. Now, in all these cases, you have to take the consent of the patient, and if you are going for cesarean tubal ligation along with cesarean section, so you have to take the consent properly, and you have to assess the baby also before going for the surgery for tubal ligation, that the baby is healthy, the baby is not admitted in NICU, or at least she should be having 2 children, one child above 5 years, the second child should be above 6 months. Then only you are legally authorized to do tubal ligation in that particular patient. Okay. Now, tubectomy procedure, it can be an abdominal procedure or a vaginal procedure. In abdominal procedure, it can be a conventional method or a mini laparotomy, or you can go for laparoscopy also. Okay. So first of all, if you are going for abdominal tubal ligation, you will give anesthesia to the patient. Usually, if you are doing this tubal ligation in a camp, you will go for local anesthesia. And in all cases, in puerperal cases, you will see that the incision should be given 2 centimeter just below the fundal height. Okay, 2 fingers beneath the fundal height, you will give the incision in cases of puerperal cases, because in puerperal cases, the uterine size is around 12 to 18 weeks or 14, 16, 18. So depending upon the degree of involution in that patient, you will plan your incision. But if you are giving an incision in an interval TT, tubal ligation. So in interval cases, you have to give 2 finger above the pubic symphysis. The incision should be just above the pubic symphysis. Now, you will, how will you deliver the tube out? You will introduce your index finger inside the incision and go posteriorly to the posterior surface of the uterus. From there, you will hook the broad ligament, posterior leaf of the broad ligament from where the tube is hooked, and then you will hook it out and then you will ligate it. Now, the method of ligation of the tubes are different in different procedures. The most commonly technique which we usually perform is the Pomeroy's technique. Here, what we do, make a loop of the tube by holding it with Ellis forceps in such a way that the major part of the loop consists mainly of the isthmus and part of the ampullary part of the tube. At the junction, the ampullary part is the junction between the proximal and the middle third. And through an avascular area in the mesosalpinx, you will introduce the needle of a chromic catgut number 0, and then you will make a tie it, and then you will make a loop over there, and then you will cut the loop. Okay, so here what we do, we first make a loop, we clamp it, we ligate it, and then we cut the loop. So this is Pomeroy's technique. It is the most easy, safe, and very effective technique. But and the cut ends, usually since chromic catgut is an absorbable suture, what will happen after a few months? That both the two ends will be remaining far apart, so the chances of failure rate is very less, and it is only 0.1 to 0.5%. Okay, so that is Pomeroy's technique, which is the most common technique. Other techniques is the Uchida's technique. Here, what we do, a saline solution is injected subserosely in the mid portion of the tube to create a bled, and then a serous coat is incised over the antimesenteric border to expose the muscular tube. Now, this tube is ligated again with chromic catgut number 0 on either side, and about 3 to 5 centimeter of the tube is resected off. Means you, what is the length of the fallopian tube? It is almost 10 centimeters. So from 10 centimeter, you are actually excising 3 to 5 centimeter of the tube. Okay. So that is Uchida's technique. And then in Irving method, what we do, we ligate the tube on 2 sides and we cut the mid portion of the tube. That is Irving's method. And in Madlener's technique, it is the easiest method. Here, the loop of the tube is crushed with an artery forceps, and then the crushed area is tied with black silk. Here, the loop is not excised, but the best thing is you should always go for Pomeroy's technique, which is where we are cutting the tube also. But I prefer that when you are ligating the tube, you should also ligate it with a non-absorbable suture. Like suppose if you ligate it with silk, it will remain throughout in her body and the two cut ends will never meet because the silk will be remaining inside the body throughout her life. So that is a complete permanent method and there is no chances of failure if you are using a non-absorbable suture. Okay. And lastly, fimbriectomy was also one of the procedure, but it is not in common use now because if in at all after tubal ligation you want to go for recanalization, suppose she has undergone tubal ligation and after few years she said that one of her child has died because of some accident and now she wants to again anastomose the two tubes. So, hello. So in that case, you cannot go for tubal ligation if you have done fimbriectomy in that patient. So that is why fimbriectomy procedure is now obsolete. And then you will close the abdomen in layers and the patient can be discharged on the 5th day. What is mini laparotomy? How is it different from abdominal tubal ligation? In mini laparotomy, what we do, basically in mini lap, the incision should be very less, means ½ inch to 3/4 inch. The incision should be so much small. And what we do, we introduce a uterine elevator per vaginally inside the uterus. What will this uterine elevator do? So mini laparotomy is basically a no-touch technique. Here, what we do, we just open the incision, abdominal skin, rectus sheath, and the muscle and the peritoneum. Everything is opened up, and we don't introduce our finger inside. We are, like in Pomeroy and other abdominal method, we introduce the index finger up to the posterior surface of the uterus, from there to the posterior border of the mesosalpinx, from where you hook the tube out. Here, what we do, we just open the abdomen, and then what we do, we will manipulate the uterine elevator. If you want to ligate the left tube, you will move your uterine elevator so much so to the right side that the left tube will come just below the level of your incision. Then you will directly introduce your Babcock's forceps and lift the fallopian tube, and then you will go for any of the methods of tubal ligation in that patient. Similarly, you will move the uterine elevator towards the left side so that the right tube will come just underneath your incision, and then you will introduce your Babcock's, and you will hold the fallopian tube and you will ligate it. So that is all about abdominal tubal ligation. You can go for tubal ligation by laparoscopic method also. Here what we do, we introduce the laparoscope and hold the fallopian tube at the isthmus area, and you just apply the Phillips ring. And after applying the Phillips ring, you just remove it. And this Phillips ring will be there inside the body throughout the life, and the patient will not recover. She will not conceive again. But what happens, sometimes this Phillips ring slips off, and there are chances of failure of tubal ligation also. So we have seen that as compared to the conventional method, laparoscopic sterilization, there are more chances of failure with laparoscopic sterilization. So the patient might come to you with failure of TT. So it's better to go for the conventional method. And if you're going for laparoscopic sterilization, you apply the Phillips ring. Nowadays, what we do when we are going for laparoscopic sterilization, either we apply the Phillips tube, we will cut the end, and we will cauterize the ends also. So that will help in recurrence or failure of the tubal ligation procedure. So that is all about tubal ligation. This will be asked in your exams also. So what are the points which you should keep into consideration? First point is this tubal ligation should always be done when the patient is menstruating. So that will help you to confirm that the patient is not pregnant. And whenever you are performing this surgery, particularly whether it is an abdominal procedure or it is a laparoscopic procedure, it is asked in your exams that which part of the fallopian tube is incised or ligated. So you will say that the isthmus area of the fallopian tube is the area where you will apply the Phillips ring, or it is that area where you will go for the Pomeroy's method or any of the methods of tubal ligation. Okay, so these are the two important things which will be asked in your exams related to tubal ligation, and this is a basic thing which you people should always remember. You can go for tubal ligation in the puerperal period or after MTP or during cesarean section along with cesarean section, and you can go in for interval tubal ligation also when the baby is almost 6 months old. Then you can go for interval tubal ligation. In all that cases, you will give an incision to just above the pubic symphysis, but in puerperal cases when the uterus is very large, around 18-20 weeks or whatsoever, so you will give an incision 2 centimeter below the fundus of the uterus. Okay, so that is all about tubal ligation. What are the complications? Complications can occur that particularly with laparoscopic procedures, there are more chances of complication, like you will when you are inserting the trocar, you are actually injuring the intestine, or you can injure the aorta or the major vessels also. So hemorrhagic and hypovolemic shock because of that can happen with the laparoscopic tubal ligation. And immediate complications can be because of infections also. So you will see that whatever type of surgery you are performing, wound infection is a very common complication. So you will give a good antibiotic, so peritonitis will not occur. And some patients hemorrhage because of injury to the broad ligament. There is a bunch of vessels in the broad ligament which can be injured while you are performing this tubal ligation. So you have to be very much cautious. I remember when I was doing my post-graduation course, and I was assisting in tubal ligation with my senior, and she told me to lift the fallopian tube, as she was not able to visualize the tube properly, and she was not able to make a proper loop of the fallopian tube for a Pomeroy's method of tubal ligation for this method. So I lifted the fallopian tube a little bit, but then she scolded me and she lifted it more. And the moment she lifted it more, what happened? This fallopian tube got detached from the cornal end of the uterus. Okay, so that complication I have seen with my eyes. So I'm very much particular when you are lifting the fallopian tube for making a loop. Make sure you're not giving so much traction that this tube can get extracted out from the cornal end of the uterus itself. Okay, and remember that bunch of vessels in the broad ligament, they are also very much prone to be injured or pricked while performing this procedure. So be cautious that whenever you are pricking the mesosalpinx, make sure that that area is avascular, and then only from that avascular area you will insert or prick the needle in the mesosalpinx, in always in the avascular zone, so as to be on the safer side. Okay, so that is all about female sterilization. In my next lecture, I will take on a medical termination of pregnancy and its complications. Okay, thank you.